So on here are little tiny glasses of water, and my name is on one of them, which is very German, because in America they throw a bunch of bottles down and we'd have to forge for them. Okay, so we're going to talk about reverse engineering the brave new world courageously with technology. This is, you know, I always think courage leads to confidence, right? And confidence leads to integrity. And one of the things that I often talk about is that we as venture capitalists need to make systemic change some way in this world. And the way that early stage investors are doing it, and I speak a lot about, is that we cannot just invest in valuations, we have to start investing in values as well. It is not to say that this world somehow is going to change itself and the bad behavior of some presidents and other people are somehow going to change the landscape. We're going to have to change the landscape. And so as early VCs, that's one of the things that we do. I look for integrity. I look for patience. I look for respect. That's what I look for in these founders. And one of what I look for is obviously courage. One of my favorite people in history is Churchill. If I were to come back, I'd like to come back as either Churchill or a dolphin. Dolphins smile. They always have a smile. I'd like to be a dolphin. But Churchill says, courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities because it has been said it is the quality which guarantees all others. And how right he is. And that's something we have to keep very mindful as we continue forward, especially navigating some treacherous terrain. This was an informatic from the 1950s, 1960s, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see very well, there were a couple of really interesting predictions that came true. So now, basing on this, where are we going to be in 2025? Now, there are some interesting points on here. The first 3D printed car will be in production. 30% of corporate audits will be performed by AI. 10% of the gross domestic product will be stored in blockchain. My favorite, actually, is the first AI machine will join a corporate board of directors. I'm not quite sure how that's going to look like, but we'll get there, of course. Autonomous vehicles, everybody's favorite hot topic in the Silicon Valley and elsewhere. So yes, it has the power to change lives in many ways. I love this cartoon. Don't you love this cartoon? Does your car have any idea why my car pulled it over? So that's actually how it's going to be, and that's what is going on right now. I look at the cost, you know, we look at the cost benefits, right? Then we do a cost analysis. The benefits are pretty clear. The risks are pretty clear. I'm going to get to the very bottom of benefits, improving jobs for drivers, because that's something that's not top of mind when you think of autonomous cars. Who will get here first? All of you say, we will, that's where Germany, but you have BMW, right? You have a lot of definite head start on some of the other car manufacturers. I love that Germany has created the first ethical guidelines for driverless cars. Well, bravo. I really, no kidding. We need those ethics somewhere in this world. And Germany, you're leading the way. All right, Waymo. So Waymo, basically, as you can see, is considered to be the leader in the space. An autonomous car development company was started by Google. And we have a fleet right now, or they have a fleet of fully self-driving cars. It's a partnership with actually Chrysler, and it just came out all the bits and pieces on it. But basically, they're taking 500 cars and they're deploying them, piloting them in Phoenix, Arizona. And these are smart cars. But the most sophisticated of all the cities in the United States is actually Pittsburgh, where we have smart lights, traffic lights, that speak to the smart cars. And we have Uber that just gifted Carnegie Mellon $5 million to their robotics research. And there goes Pittsburgh, why they are so much ahead. And a lot of people are watching.
It's a fraction of a second. It knows exactly where it is on the road. It can also identify everything around it in full 360 degrees, and then predict what those things might do next. And it doesn't just do that for the objects you and I can see. It can do that for things up to 3 football fields away.
Now that's the Waymo car. So basically it has sensors all over. And if you download the Waymo, if you download this Waymo link, then I can send that to you or have Connie send it to you. You can take your phone and you can see as the car will be seeing in 3D. And you can actually position all around you. You can see all the sensors will pick out all the data, points of data. It's fascinating. Now, Otto, I picked this out because I love trucking and I invest in trucking. And in addition to investing in Uber, we invest in airplanes, we invest in trucks. This one's very interesting because this completed a 120-mile trek for the first commercial delivery of beer. And I thought, well, that's good. The Germans will love this because that cargo of beer was so very important. But why not put beer and send it across the country? That seemed like a good idea. But the interesting part about this is back to the slide that I was talking about the jobs, okay? You think about job replacement, but it's also job retention. Because if you go all the way back, only 10% will be autonomous cars going forward in the next, let's say, 10 years or shorter. But the fact is that it's very hard in the United States to retain truck drivers, and it is plummeting. But what if we could have a truck driver in an autonomous car for certain laps of the ride, where he or she could take a nap, okay, or to connect to the family, do phone calls, things like that. You would absolutely be able to retain drivers. There's a lot of data to support this, and we're working a lot of that in the trucking industry. When I say we, the comprehensive we. Okay, so here are jobs. Driverless cars will make a lot of jobs better and not destroy them. This was actually in 2015, we took this. Add 10%, and we've been pulling this data from all the different, not only here in the United States, but across the globe. Digital health, one of my favorite topics. Do you know that digital health, the market will top about $397 billion in 2025? That is broken down into 36% mobilization, 30% telemedicine, and about 16% wearables. And that's just astronomical. I am on the digital health board at Stanford Hospital. I'm a Dean's Fellow at the medical school at Stanford. And this is an area that I believe in. Not only do I believe in because it will inform us better on how to create a roadmap for our own health, but also I've always felt instead of bombing other countries, why don't we heal each other? Why don't we collect each other and help and consolidate the data on perhaps potentially blockchain? We're going to get to that soon. Digital health. Talk about the benefits, obviously, accountability and traceability and predictions and wonderful therapies. In America, the NIH has mandated something called precision health, thereby decreasing unwanted, unnecessary medicines and therapies and tests and precisely understanding and diagnosing treatments, cures, and also prevention. So we're talking about genomics, and this all makes perfect sense of benefits. And the risk, well, obviously, the use and protection of data, which is always very worrisome for all of us, complications, surgical robotic errors, we've seen that, but fear that scientists may play God because now they can. Now, I've dated a lot of doctors, and they all think they're God. So giving them now this to be able to validate that is very worrisome to me. Who are the leaders in this? Let's talk. The public, we see Apple, obviously. We say Google, Illumina, Viva. These are, by the way, I have to go through this rather fast, and I apologize. Connie gave me 25 minutes, and so I'm trying to get through it in 25 minutes. However, if you would like a deck of this, I can send all of this to you. I did it last year. So then we talk about startups, Health Catalyst, Flatiron, WellTalk. We also have a company, it's called WorkPath, and it's a SaaS product that mobilizes labor workforces. So right now we are focused on healthcare. And what we're able to do is we're onboarding all labor forces, pick line nurses. We have a deal with Siemens right now to onboard MRI techs in order to get them to the home, get them to workplaces, phlebotomists. And here I know you have med lanes, which you are home care, you're able to mobilize the Uber of doctors. I thought that was very interesting. I sat down with the founder actually while I was having an infusion. I actually had an infusion today, and we're having a discussion about how we could use this SaaS, this software product, to automate this, where doctors and mobile labor forces, all labor forces, not only doctors, could put on a platform, you could dispatch them, you could schedule them, you can automate the payment through this app, through the platform, and that is a game changer globally, not only in the United States. We're very excited about this company. It's called WorkPath. Okay, here's the current and future monitor tools. Oh, here was the future. All right, so you've got the contact lenses. We're going to talk a little bit about this. You've got clothing. You've got electronic skin. Yes, you're supposed to go, ooh, I don't hear any of that. Oh, Jillian, right. You've got shoes. You know, you've got wristbands, which we all know, and implantables. And I want to talk about the breath device. Okay, here's digital health interventions. You've got the bras. This is forward.
Glass, can you pull up the healthcare maintenance for Micah? I see that you're overdue for a couple blood tests, nothing that's critical. Glass allows us to stay in the moment.
Okay, that was Google Glass. Now, when Google Glass came out years ago, Google Glass failed miserably. Ooh, I hope nobody gets out of this room. What stays here, right? What happens here stays here. Okay, fine. Nobody go back to Google. I said that. But the fact is it did. It did fail miserably. But interestingly enough, now we have this Google Glass. We have these glasses that takes in all the information from the patient-physician interaction, and it downloads it so that doctors don't have to sit there inputting a vast amount of data.
I don't think the regulation is in place right now. I think it has to be created. I think this is the Wild West without a sheriff.
But are you looking for it to come from any one country or any one part? Who's going to lead on this?
I think the U.S. needs to lead.
Even though the majority, I don't know, we're certainly not the locus of trading around the world.
Yes, I realize that, but I think we are the epicenter of innovation. And if we can't, we need to lead the way. We need to show how these applications will work. I think that there's a tremendous value in blockchain. I think how it's being applied to every single industry. I'd like to look more on the healthcare. I mean, what Alphabet is doing in healthcare, you know, we have Google, we have now Amazon potentially hopping into healthcare. You have, that's an area that needs to be really watched. It's blockchain that's going to be fueling, that's the turbo tech boost. I don't think it's the cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so that was on CNBC about 3 weeks ago. I'll be back on it in a couple of weeks talking about this. In 3 weeks, okay, my mind has been exploding because from that, I have received, like, I cannot tell you, thousands of emails, thousands of texts, and a lot of people who disagree with me, basically. There are people who disagree, and there are people who agree. On the blockchain, most people agree. So this is basically how the blockchain works. And really, it is just taking data. Instead of it being centralized, as you know, it's distributed around across blocks of data, blocks like on a chain, clearly. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to create more access. And I think that's innovative. The first native digital medium, all right, for value, I think, is blockchain. Similar to the internet was the first native digital medium of communication. And that's sort of how I'm thinking about this. Blockchain technology reality, distributed ledgers, peer-to-peer communication, transparency. Now, this is really interesting at the bottom. And by the way, this took me 3 months to put this deck together. So it's basically irreversible records, that's a plus and a minus, obviously. Here's, okay, this is a very important, this will have to fail. Is there blockchain revolution? Many barriers, technological, governance, organizational, even societal, will have to fail for these to work. But blockchain is not a disruptive technology. It is a foundational one, and that's something we all have to, I think we all will be agreeing upon. The applications of blockchain, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to send this to you. The blockchain companies, cryptocurrency, I love this little cartoon. I think I'll name you Bitcoin, it's the little unicorn. Cryptocurrencies, here are the benefits and the risks of cryptocurrencies. The fun facts of cryptocurrencies. And I'll send this to you, obviously, because I've now run out of time. And the understanding the differences between the coins and utility coins. I just want to say really quickly that for utility coins, that is a way for companies, for brands to increase their loyalty using the utility coins. And subsequently, I like to think that it will then be able to reward good behavior. Let's say Airbnb rewards you with cryptocurrencies, with a utility coin. You can then create levels of credit on these coins. And that's something I can elaborate on at a different time. Machine learning, I'm running out of time, but machine learning, the future of precise supply chain, machine learning, the benefits and the risks. Global markets of AI. and how this has been displacement, how we look at displacement by 2025. For intelligent companies, one of ours is called Shift, and I will tell you about that at some later date. Here's deep learning and why artificial intelligence, the evolution. And I'm going to just wrap up this one thought, and only one thought. Okay. And this is something from that I did not write, Tennyson wrote, but I want to just leave you with this. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order smite the sounding furors for my purpose holds, to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be that we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are now, not now, that strength which we had in old days, moved earth and heaven, that which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Thank you.
Jillian, thank you so much.